So even if you talk about the retail side of things, although retail leasing has not grown exponentially.
Yeah.
That is again because of the reason that most of the malls which are centrally owned and operated and leased by a single entity, they do well.
Okay.
You look at any mall across the country, the number of ghost malls we have today is very high.
Yeah.
But all the malls which are operated, leased out and owned by a single entity, they do much better than a mall which has been strata sold.
Okay.
So that model will also change, and it has already changed. That the big developers are coming in, they are saying that we are no longer going to sell the mall space. We are going to build, like you see the Lulu Mall in Lucknow.
Yeah.
It is a huge property, completely owned and operated by Lulu owners.
Okay.
And they've got the best of tenants in, right? Best of brands in. You look at, even if you look at Delhi, which are the best malls? You can name on your fingers that these 3-4 malls are the best.
Pacific Mall.
Pacific, Emporio, Promenade and Ambience.
Yeah.
All these, none of these are
institutionally owned now.
Yeah. Institutionally owned.
Yeah.
So that model has also changed. And eventually, the office space is also moving towards that, now developers want that we do not strata, we don't sell in parts.
Okay.
Wherein a retail investor would want that we get a part. Because let's say to buy an entire building versus buying an office space, there's a difference. But a lot of developers are moving towards institutional sales completely and, managing and building and owning the entire asset till the time it is leased out.
But ये चीज आप बता रहे हो, कहानी जो एजेंट्स बताते हैं या जो डेवलपर्स बताते हैं वो तो बड़ी डिफरेंट थी. जब पहले मॉल्स आते थे फॉर सेल, तब बोला जाता था कि आप शॉप में इन्वेस्ट करो, आपको इतना रेंटल मिलेगा, आप वर्चुअल स्पेसेस खरीद लो, आप फुल प्लेट का 500 स्क्वायर फीट खरीद लो. बट आज जैसे आपने बोला, ऑल ऑफ दोज आर घोस्ट मॉल्स. उसको चढ़ाने में फिर कल को बड़ी दिक्कत आती है.
Although there has been growth in number of brands which have come into India,
Yeah.
right? But do you think it is exceptionally high?
नहीं.
The number of new brands which have entered into India, I would not say they have not doubled in last 4 years.
नहीं.
Whereas now commercial real estate as well, we will have to segregate
Okay.
in two parts and discuss both separately.
ठीक है.
One is the retail end of it. So who's the occupant? All the brands which are there,
Brands.
whether they are, let's say F&B brands,
Yeah.
entertainment brands,
FMCG.
Shopping.
or shopping, clothing,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Appliances,
Yeah.
they have not doubled or they have not gone 3 times.
Yeah.
Hence, their choice, all these brands, their first option is always go to a mall which is centrally owned and centrally operated.
जहाँ पे फुटफॉल भी ज्यादा है.
Similar to what DP is saying.
Yeah.
So, DLF, Phoenix Mall,
Yeah.
right? Emporio, Select City Walk, all of these are institutional malls, right?
Owned
They are
and
not
operated.
owned and operated. Hence, if a retail brand has entered and they have a special need, as a single unit owner, there is no way you can fulfill that
नहीं
special
हो
need.
सकता.
And all the retail brands which usually come in, they have some demands.
Yeah.
As the owner for the whole retail block, it is very easy for them to do it.
Yeah.
As a single owner, you won't be able to do it. Now talking on the office side.
Yeah.
Office side, all the companies, whether they are Indian companies or MNC companies,
Yeah.
are your potential takers.
बिल्कुल. स्टार्टअप्स भी हैं.
Startups bhi hain, lot of startups which are happening and
Yeah.
fantastic startups which are happening in India.
Yeah.
Bangalore, Pune, they are hotbeds of all these, even Gurgaon are hotbeds of all these
Hyderabad.
startups. Hyderabad, right? So all these are your potential takers. Usually office needs are office needs and all they need is some part of F&B within that building block.
Agree.
So there is no exceptional demand, right? All they want is a good office in a good block at a good location with ease of commute
Yeah.
and all the basic facilities, let's say internet and all that. But then all these guys are your potential takers.
बट आप ये बताओ, जैसे रिटेल के अंदर आपने कहा कि ब्रांड्स डबल नहीं हुए, तो क्या ऑफिस स्पेस में ब्रांड्स डबल हुए हैं या डबल से भी ज्यादा हो गए हैं?
So traditionally, let's say when DLF was set up and DLF made these corporate offices, they were primarily catering to the MNCs,
Okay.
multinationals, right? And most of the big business houses, the Tatas, the Birlas, the Reliances, were taking these large business offices, right?
बिल्कुल.
But you look at the number of new startups which have happened in our country since 2010,
Yeah.
probably 2014, once the government changed the make, they introduced Made in India, they introduced the startup wala thing.
Yeah.
So today, the number of people who are taking the office space, you will be surprised to know in the last 3 years, Indian companies have taken more office space than multinational companies.
Really?
Yes.
Absolutely.
And it's not saying that multinational growth is not happening in the country.
Yeah.
It is still happening. Companies are still wanting to come in India, set up shop. But the startups or the Indian companies which have grown, they need the office space more than these multinational companies do. Earlier, kya hota tha? You go back in the 80s, when the new companies came in, they wanted a collaborator, they wanted a local partner. Maruti collaborated with Suzuki, so on and so forth. But now, with the way the policies are there and ease of doing business is there, Gurgaon is on the world map, companies come and they realize that they can set up offices, they can, start hiring people, they can set offices, and it will be easy to do business here.
Yeah, 100% FDI is also allowed.
It's
now.
allowed. So the ease of doing business has increased. We, in the last couple of years, we have given, office spaces to brands which are very well known across the world, but there it was the first office in India.
Okay.
And the way we also dealt, because, we like to do a basic credit check of the client before giving them the office space. Because if we are doing the capex, we are doing everything, we'd like to ensure that our rentals are on time.
Bilkul.
Right? There is no default on the rentals. So we do a basic health check to see whether they'll be able to pay or not. With these international companies, it becomes difficult because they have no past record. So then it helps us to understand what are they doing globally. And then, we talk to the senior management. We understand what is the guy they've brought in to do that business, who's the hiree here. And then we take a call ki, yes, this company looks good. So off late, we have given it to a few Korean companies, German companies, Japanese companies, wherein they came, they set up an office on their own with no local help or support or collaboration. They set up an office. They also set up manufacturing units here.
Acha.
Yeah.
अपने आप से.
Correct. Okay. Without any local partner.
Okay. Okay.
So they hired employees only.
Yeah.
And their offices are doing well. And these kind of companies have grown. Multinationals keep on coming. Their growth is evident. And जो जितने भी startups हैं, they are also wanting to take more and more space. The golf course extension as a whole, you look at any building, you go and you check the nameplate, you will see more Indian companies than international companies.
But मेरा ऐसा मानना था, tell me if I'm right or wrong, कि startups आएंगे शायद smaller area लेंगे, 5,000 फुट 10,000 फुट. बट मैंने देखा है जब Google आता है, Facebook आता है, वो तो सीधा पूरी बिल्डिंग ले लेते हैं, 1-1 लाख स्क्वायर फीट.
Zomato has recently taken the full building.
अच्छा, Indian startups are also.
So, a lot of Indian startups have taken full building.
ऐसा नहीं है गौरव, प्लस जो 5,000 10,000 वाला क्लाइंट भी है, अब इसको let's correlate with the investment.
Okay.
Let's say somebody has an appetite of investment of 5 crores and they want to invest in commercial real estate, they can. They will probably buy a 3,500 square feet office space and give it to a tenant.
Okay.
A lock and key office space of 3,500 will give them a very good tenant.
Okay. Okay.
And it's not key, that only if a tenant is taking 1 lakh square feet, it makes sense. No. 5,000 square feet le lo, 10 le lo, 3 le lo, 2 le lo. The change which has happened is in the smaller office space, that 1,500 square feet.
Okay.
That more and more is being done as a managed office or a co-working thing.
Okay. Okay.
Initially, what used to happen is that investors used to say कि let's buy 1,000 square feet or a 500 square feet का lock in की ले लो, यहाँ पे तो पक्का कोई ना कोई आ जाएगा. That trend has changed.
Okay.
Now the minimum investment or minimum office space a company wants to set up an independent shop or an independent office is around 2,500 square feet.
Okay.
And upwards. उससे जो नीचे का client है, they would want to go to a managed or a co-working office space and say that all are, they don't need to keep a PN.
Yeah.
They don't need to have a housekeeping. They don't need to have to worry about grocery. They don't need to worry about यार printer चल रहा है नहीं चल रहा है.
When you say
landline चल रहा है नहीं चल रहा है.
manage, you mean all these co-working spaces?
Yeah, co-working spaces.
WeWork and all?
Absolutely.
Okay.
These are probably in the long term, they might not be very good. But let's say a startup is starting or a company is starting and they are unsure of how their revenues would be, how their growth would be. So that interim period of first 6 to 8 to 9 months, it is very good for them. It's quite healthy for them. And it's quite a norm that they'll be sitting in a business center or a co-working space. And after 7, 8, 9 months, when they realize that now we have a control over the entire thing and our costing will be better if we go to our own office.
Okay.
That is the time then they'll start looking for their own office. And usually most of the clients which come to us are like that.